Mark, we got a lot to unpack here when it comes to Jamel Herring's title defense against Jonathan Oquendo that is going to go down as a win by DQ. After the 8th round, a bad cut that opened up in the 5th with what was ruled an intentional clash of heads. And it seemed like he was pleading with both the ringside physician and the referee, Tony Weeks, that he can't continue. He can't see. What was your read on it?
I thought it was a bit desperate. I was shocked. I don't know if something was taken from him and with the COVID and the training process and starting up and shutting it down and starting it up again. But I saw a guy who insisted, I can't see. Now, we saw him blinking. I'm sure that there was blood in his eye. But I saw some acquiescence on Jamel Herring's part. And this is a guy I've made a great story of his heroism, and I believe in it fully. But I saw him acquiesce in the latter rounds and insist that I can't see.
You framed the question earlier. What did COVID take from him? Remember, twice postponed. He had symptoms. He had the temperature. He was dealing with respiratory issues. The fighter that we saw after the cut in the 3 subsequent rounds with all the grappling and infighting and some dirty tactics from Oquendo looked like a fighter that wasn't going to be much of the same for the next 4 rounds at all.
No, I agree with you. The odd thing about this is that when he was full-on sick as a dog with COVID, Jamel Herring insisted on going ahead with this fight. This is a courageous guy. This is a heroic guy, and I'm having trouble reconciling that guy with the guy who basically insisted I can't see tonight, I guess thinking that he would win on points or DQ. Listen, Jonathan Oquendo gave great notes for Carl Frampton if that fight should happen. He showed how to get inside and what not to do. You know, Frampton will be much more, will get in much better. He'll know how to jab. He's a much better technician. I thought that Oquendo went from desperate to full-on dirty, but that's a test. That's something that a champion has to deal with. And what I have now are more questions than I began the evening with for Jamel Herring.
Well, let me ask you a question because, we frame a Jamel Herring, Carl Frampton showdown as, well, he's going to have the physical advantages and similar physical advantages that he had here against Oquendo. But it's a bigger step up in class. I mean, Frampton, with all the experience as a 2-division world champion and the skill set, it's much different.
Andre made a point earlier in the evening about what does Herring see in himself? Does he see himself as a true champion or not? This was a test tonight. Carl Frampton is a fighter of the year, a 2-division champion. He thinks of himself as a great fighter. He's out to make history and become the greatest fighter ever to come out of Ireland. What does Herring think of himself? He's going to have to put tonight out of his mind and remember that he has certain huge physical advantages. He's a lefty. He's much bigger. He's going to have to concentrate on who he could be and who he should have been tonight instead of what he was.
Mark, there are few things I enjoy more in covering this sport than getting on board and hyping an undefeated prospect who gets me excited. Can I please have your reaction to Jesse Bam Rodriguez and what we saw out of this kid who is now 12-0 with 8 knockouts and his utter destruction of a former title challenger in Janiel Rivera?
Well, first of all, as the brother of Joshua Franco, he's got great bloodlines. I think that there's no doubt this is not just a champion, but a multi-division champion. Robert Garcia, who has a pretty formidable stable, has said he's as talented as anyone I have. Great compliment. You can see him going all the way up to perhaps featherweight. But what I was struck by, even though he's 20 years old, was the precision. That's what really will stay with me, the precision.
20 years old, he's fighting at junior fly. This is a guy who can win a title at 108, 112, 115, 118, and as you said, potentially get right up into 122, 126. I mean, he could make a run through 5, 6 weight classes. The sky is the limit for Bam Rodriguez. We'll see you next Saturday.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.